Okay, welcome to another model kit build. We got a 66 Mustang GT from AMT today. This is a new tool as far as the body goes, and it's based on the 66 coupe kit. Now back in the day, I'm pretty sure AMT offered this both ways, but apparently the tooling for the fastback body got lost, and round two had to engineer a new one. So here we are with this kit, and it's kind of gotten a bunch of negative grumbling when it was introduced because it's not all new. Well, you know what, guys? You pay for the tooling for an all-new kit, and I'm sure round two will be happy to sell it. Anyhow, we're going to take a look at this guy, and I'll spin the car around here a little bit. You can kind of get a look at what she looks like. I think the proportions are pretty good, and it winds up making a decent car, kind of like the coupe does after you struggle with it a little bit. And I do have the coupe here for comparison. I'll bring him over, and as you can see, it's certainly the same basis, as we'll see as we do a little bit more detailed look at it. But that's my coupe that I built about a year or so ago, and this fastback is built as a GT. So what does that give us? Well, there's quite a few new parts in this kit, and you'll find that you can actually buy one of these coupe kits and build a GT coupe if you want to. With all the pieces that are in this kit, you can pretty much do it. So let me pull this guy back away, and we'll look at this thing a little closer. So one thing I want to start off with is the decal sheet. Let's have a look at that. And there's a lot of detailed decals on here. They gave you some for the instrument panel, which honestly, the instrument panel in this kit isn't that great and not easy to see. I didn't bother putting these in because I didn't think it was going to matter. You do get window cranks and door handles for the inside of the interior tub, which is very useful because there is virtually no detail on the interior tub side panels. So that is a big help in adding a little interest in there. And we also got some wheel center caps right here. And I don't even know that it was necessary to bother with that because, boy, they barely show up. But they're there if you want to use them. And also the letters for the hood I wanted to mention, because I tried using these and the decals are actually smaller than the molded in letters on the hood, so they're not really usable. You get multiple colors and stripes. Because I used a black interior, I used the black stripes on mine. Multiple license plates, racing stripes, and of course the Task of Ford drag car decal options as well. One thing I wanted to mention, and that you're going to want to take care of because learn from my mistakes, I didn't notice this until after I had painted the car, but there are two big divots in the trunk lid, two big sinkholes, because there are two posts molded into the body on the underside that have no real purpose, by the way. But you can see here with the reflection that we have these two unsightly holes, divots, whatever you want to call them, in the deck lid. So you're going to have to fill those with a little bit of putty or filler. They're there. And I didn't catch them, and it kind of annoys me. Alright, so what's the same and what's different on this one? Well, they did give you a GT grille with the fog lights. That's new. And one important thing that I think is fabulous, that they really didn't even have to do, is they gave us real headlights. Instead of the chrome-plated solid monstrosities of the original, we now have separate lenses and chrome bezels to make realistic headlights. So that's a nice thing. Bumpers are the same, front and rear valancers are the same. Oh wait, no they're not. Let me circle back here. The rear valance is new for the GT. And I kind of would have liked to seen them give you the optional chrome trumpets for the exits there, but they didn't. So you just got to kind of paint those in such a way that they look like they're actual pipes. The fuel filler cap is unique to the GT. It's different than the original one. And you'll notice that the side sculpting, the coupe has the side molding things there and the rocker moldings. The emblems on the coupe were made into the car. They were molded in, whereas this car has nothing molded into it on the sides. These are all decals for the engine 289V, the GT, and the Mustang logo at the bottom. These are all decals. Has the same Talbot style rear view mirror, which is actually not correct for a standard car. The taillights are the same. Obviously the glass is new to fit the Fastback. These vent pieces are separate items. And a note on those, don't forget to paint the backside of them before you put them in there, because otherwise they'll be standing out like a sore thumb. And glass fits really well. One note on the glass is it comes as a connected piece like it did on the coupe. See, the coupe has these plastic rails under here that hold the front and back glass together, which I noted in my build of this car that you should cut those off. Well, the same is true on the Fastback. You definitely want to cut those off, and I did on this one. And the glass fits perfectly if you do that. Other than that, that's pretty much the exterior differences. And we'll just flip it upside down. And the underside is exactly the same. There's no difference whatsoever between these two kits when it comes to the floor pan. Once again, everything is molded in for the most part. The axle, springs, exhaust system, gas tank, it's all molded into the chassis, so you're going to have to paint that individually. And it had the same problem here at the back. The coupe kit has some goofiness with the exhaust that goes kind of behind the gas tank. And for the custom version, you have to trim that off to be able to get the rear valance to fit. I can't really see it here because I've already fixed it, but there is a portion here behind the gas tank that will jut out and push against that valance and not really allow it to sit properly. So same chassis, no differences there. Solid axles front and rear. Of course, they go cruising through the oil pan like those vintage kits want to do. And that's all I can really say about the chassis. And the engine bay and engine are identical. Nothing different there. The only difference in the newer one is they give you a decal for the air cleaner, which is kind of nice. But otherwise it's exactly the same. I used the fin valve covers on this one and the stock ones on that one. It's the only real difference. Otherwise, they're identical. And as with the original, this engine bay is not spectacular. There's a lot of flaws here. There's no shock towers. The firewall detail is pretty poor. The radiator support isn't great. There's a lot of ugliness here between the grille and the radiator support that just is mold stuff that's in the way of making it look nice. So again, this is a vintage kit aside from the body and the new parts. So don't expect this to be, monogram quality or Revell. It's not going to be that. The interior is basically the same type of tub as the coupe in that it has very little detail. It has the same crappy seats. The center console in this one actually has the 4-speed shift diagram, where the other one had the Prindle for the automatic, and it's not an automatic car. Steering wheel's the same, it's okay. Dash is the same, it's okay. There you can see the decals for the door handle and the window crank across the way. So this one I decided to go with the black interior because there's not much to show off there. It would have been nice maybe to have a Palomino interior and white stripes, but not on this kit. The hood fits differently on this one than it did on the other one, which is weird. That one just has little goofy locating tabs here, whereas this one has sort of kind of hinges. Now, I had trouble with this hinge or this hood wanting to sit flat, and it's because these hinges were too much of a U shape. So I had to trim them back, and you can see here kind of how I was altering them a bit to get them to fit. You got to have it up pretty high to get the hood down in there, but now it sits fairly well. No real complaints. This kit also comes with these GT rally wheels, which are done pretty nicely. And the kit has umpteen leftover parts that you can use for other projects. Here is a bag full of goodies. You got drag parts, racing seats, racing slicks, extra tires, probably 3 sets of wheels in there, including stock hubcaps. So if you want to build a non-GT version of this, it's entirely possible to build a hubcap equipped regular old fastback with the standard grille from the original kit and valances and bumpers and so on. So you can build this in a couple of different ways, which is kind of nice. Again, this is basically a reissue of a 1966 annual kit, but with a new body shell and interior tub. So that's all you should really expect from this. However, that said, the completed product I think looks pretty darn nice. And I'm as happy with it as I was with the coupe kit. As far as assembly goes, the note about the glass, cutting those tabs out, I found that the front and rear valances fit better on this one than they did on my coupe, but maybe it's because I know how to put it together now. The wheels and tires on this thing I've had to re-glue about 3 times. They just don't want to stay together. I think the tires are just a little too maybe thick, and the inner rims and the outer rims don't seem to want to stay together. But and I'm using Zap glue to do that, so I don't know. I kind of put them together after I had the steel axles already half in, and that probably wasn't the smartest move. I should have clothespined them together or clamped them somehow until they dried. So that could be my fault. But again, when it's finished, for a display model, it's very nice. As a contest car, no, it's not going to have enough detail to help you win a model car contest if that's what you're into. Again, I always build these things right out of the box. I don't tend to add any parts other than maybe swapping wheels and tires around. And this is what you get and what is capable of coming out of the box when you buy this particular kit. So that is the wrap up on the 66 Mustang Fastback GT model. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful to let you know what you're going to get when you buy it and what it can look like when you're done with it. If you have any questions on the build, please let me know. The color, I should mention, is from Tamiya. I don't remember the name, but if anybody needs to know, I can always get you the name or the part number off the can. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks as always for watching, and as winter approaches, we'll have some more model kit builds coming up.